Hey everybody, I'm Grandmaster Ben Finegold here with our lecture series. This is a somber lecture on my good friend Daniel Naroditsky. Passed away a couple of weeks ago. Want to thank our sponsor, FenBinegold. He's a friend and moderator of the itsBenAndKaren Twitch channel, and he has a long sponsor message, which I will read to you now. Here's the message from FenBinegold. I greatly admired and respected Danya, and I will miss him very much. Fun fact, I, Ben Finegold, Mikhail Tal, and Danya all share the same birthday of November 9th. Danya would have turned 30 on November 9th. My friend neeifa was a moderator on Danya's Twitch stream, and it was a great honor of his life to be a mod, just as I have felt honored to be a mod on itsBenAndKaren. Danya and I shared a running joke from a Kasparov quote from his Kasparov's Masterclass trailer. In chat, I would write, quote, "You have to be creative," closed quote, and Danya would say in this Kasparov impression voice, quote, "You have to be creative," close quote. Several times we would both crack up laughing. Gonna admit some more people. Karen, It says meeting capacity is almost full. You can only host up to 99 participants.
Well, I paid extra for it to be 500.
I know.
So
It says you can increase it to 5,000 if you do something. It says, do you want to buy now and increase the capacity? We only have 80 people and we can have 99. So I think we're going to be safe.
this is good, but I did pay,
I know.
So that's, I don't know why it's not working.
So typically when we have a weekly lecture, we get about 2 people. And right now we have 80. So we actually bought a better plan to accommodate more than 100. And it's telling us we can only accommodate up to 100. So that worked.
All right.
Nothing ever works. But we only have 80 people, so we should be okay as long as 20 more people don't show up.
Well, we can do our best.
Anyway, I'm going to be a little sad during this lecture because I really like Danya. And the news was shocking to me, just like it was to all of you and the whole chess world. And Danya didn't have an enemy in the chess world. Now, typically, when I give a lecture about a great player, I go to the Wikipedia article and I read their accomplishments. But I didn't want to do that this time. I thought that would lessen his achievements. I don't think you can properly discuss Danya's achievements without knowing him personally like I did. So I want to talk about what I thought his achievements were. And if you want to learn more about Danya from Wikipedia, then you can do that on your own, obviously. And this lecture is going to be on YouTube later, probably in a few days. So you can rewatch the lecture and learn more about Danya. Daniel Naroditsky wrote his first chess book when he was a little kid. Mastering Positional Chess, something like that. And most kids under the age of 15 don't write books, chess books anyway. Danya was a great communicator, and a lot of players who are strong like Danya, good at chess, their communication skills, their teaching skills, their personality doesn't necessarily match the strength of their chess, which was not the case with Danya. Danya was a great communicator, a great teacher, very personable, and a great chess player. And Danya succeeded not only in slow chess, but in hyper bullet, blitz, rapid. He played all time controls, and as far as Danya was concerned, the faster the better. And many sleepless nights when I had nothing to do, I would go to Danya's stream, watch him play, usually 1 minute or 3 minute against somebody rated 3,000. Danya was always up for a game or a match. Danya played lots of chess. He played two of his favorite opponents, Ali Reza Firouzja and Magnus Carlsen, hundreds of games, maybe thousands, over the last few years. And typically, when I do a lecture, the lecture lasts about 45 minutes, and I look at about 5 games. But this lecture is going to be longer because Danya deserves that. I have 10 games I want to look at from Danya. So this lecture is going to go over an hour. And I can't stress enough how nice of a person Danya was and how he had, everybody liked Danya that met him. And Danya liked everybody and was very personable to everyone. And had a lot of friends on his stream. And he's taken away from us too young. I have to admit some more people. 3.
Okay. What's our count?
83.
Okay, we should be good. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call
Anyway, Danya had an active style. He played for the initiative. He had very interesting games. He didn't have a lot of draws. He played in blitz tournaments, rapid tournaments, slow tournaments, open tournaments, round robins, U.S. championships, U.S. Opens. Danya played in every tournament he could. And recently, in the last few years, he moved to Charlotte and was working at the Charlotte Chess Center with Peter Giannatos. And I was fortunate to teach at the same camp as Danya earlier this year. And I actually got to go to one of the classes he was teaching because that seemed like a fun thing to do, is watch a Danya lecture. And they recently put that lecture on the internet. Dina did. It was one of her camps. Anyway, I miss Danya, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do also. And, you know, for his memory, I don't want to say anything negative about anybody. So we're going to keep this a positive lecture, and we're going to look at some of Danya's best games as recommended by FenBinegold. The first game we're going to look at was his last game on stream against Dr. Tyger. This was a beautiful tactical melee that Daniel won. He has the white pieces. Let's see, nobody else wants to come in. Okay, good. When the lecture's over, after we look at the 10 games, I'll let people who raise their hand in the chat say something if they have a personal story about Danya, or they just want to say something about him, or if they have something nice to say or not. We'll let people speak at the end of the lecture. Okay, Danya has white. He's playing Dr. Tyger. Dr. Tyger is a Chinese grandmaster whose name I can't pronounce. Hao Wen Shui. His name is spelled Xue, so I'm pronouncing that wrong. Or there's some weird writing on the chessboard. Oh, maybe that's because I have this papers on it.
Was there a technical issue?
Yeah, there's some writing on the chessboard. Although I'm not sure why. Okay, it went away. Danya has white. Very aggressive play by white. Knight d6 check. I'm assuming this was a 3-minute game. And this is discovered check. So Danya gets his piece back. Never play f6. Danya plays queen c4. Always play bishop f8. And Black's position is quite poor because of his terrible pieces on the queen side. And this advanced pawn on d6 is very annoying. Now White's a pawn ahead. Now White's 2 pawns ahead. Now White sacks the exchange because always sack the exchange. White pins the rook, attacks the pawn, threatens d7, d8. White has a lot of passed pawns on the queen side. Black is very passive. You can see that Black's rooks aren't as strong as the white minor pieces. Now he sacks another exchange. Very dangerous to take that because White would take back. White's pawns and bishop and knight crush the black rooks. And Black resigned. So a brilliant win from Danya. And that was his last game on stream. He sacked the exchange 2 different times. And got passed pawns in the center and queen side. And Black was too passive the whole game. I assume that was a 3-minute game, but I'm not sure. Looks like nobody else wants to get in, so we're good. Okay, the next game, and I chose the games based on how exciting they were, so they'd be fun to watch in a lecture, and not like 75 move, slightly better, clearly better, kind of grind out wins. These games were more exciting. This was played in the U.S. Junior Championship in 2011. Kayden, the Truth Troff, is white against Daniel Naroditsky. Danya liked to fianchetto his king bishop, play king's Indian type positions. 4 pawns attack. They played very unusual in the opening. Danya develops all his pieces quickly, putting pressure on the d4 pawn. Now we have one more person in. Danya sacrifices a pawn. Then he sacrifices his knight. If queen takes knight check, Danya could play bishop d7, attacking the queen and winning one of white's minor pieces, probably the bishop. So Kayden played knight b5. Danya castled. And you can see white is in trouble. White doesn't have a lot of development on the king side. And black has everything developed and is castled. Now, Kayden played a funny move. Long castle. It looks illegal, but it's not. Probably, since there's so many people watching the lecture live, that some of you think that it is illegal. But I can assure you it's legal, and ChessBase wouldn't let you play it unless it was. Okay, queen b8. Black has a monster attack against white's king. Danya sacks a piece, opening up the white king even more. The knight is protecting b1, but the knight's attacked twice. So he has to move the knight away. Then here comes the attack. Queen a3 check. And white resigned. White's down material and getting mated. And white never moved his kingside pieces. And he moved his king up to d5 in the opening. A crushing victory for Danya in the U.S. Junior Championship against one of America's top juniors. And Kayden actually won the World Youth Championship one year. There's a funny checkmate if you take, which I'm looking at now. Check, check, and then queen f7 is mate. Although that's not necessary. Black could just take the bishop and be up a bishop and winning. Okay, Danya's white against Wesley, so I have to flip the board. This was played in the U.S. Rapid Prelims in 2021. Wesley So, one of the top 10 players in the world. So tough pairing for Naroditsky. More people still coming to the lecture. We had some people leave, so we still only have 81.
Okay, good.
So we're safe. Okay, they played a Rui Lopez. Played a boring variation. Naroditsky starts the kingside attack. Never play f6. Wesley So sacks a pawn to get counterplay on the queen side. Gets his pawn back, attacks the bishop. h6 check. Now the black king is defending f6. And so that removes the defender. And he played king f8, king h8, I should say. Now Danya plays an amazing move, queen g5, taking advantage of the pin of the f-pawn. Never play f6. If you take the queen, then you get checkmated. Wesley's not going to fall for that. And there's a bishop hanging on b5, but white's crashing through on the king side. Queen takes b5, rook takes f6. Now Danya's threatening checkmate. Rook e8, rook takes g6. Now Danya's threatening queen f6 check, queen g7 mate. Knight d7, stopping queen f6. Rook g7, threatening rook takes pawn check and queen g7 mate. And there's no defense. So Wesley resigned. Okay, let somebody else in. Some people show up casually late. But we have a lot of games to look at. So that was a crushing victory from Danya over Wesley. Somebody else is here too. If you play rook g8, then I can play rook f7, threatening mate. Knight f8 hangs this mate. Knight f6 I just take. So Wesley resigned. A crushing kingside attack from Naroditsky sacrificed a piece on the queen side. Okay, here's a game played in the Pro Chess League in 2017 between Naroditsky white and Priyadharshan black. Played a London system. Danya liked to play the London system. Him and Bortnik, best friends, and both played the London system. They like to play the Jobava London, which we're going to look at later. White has an advantage on the queen side. Knight on a6 is poorly placed. Now Danya crashes through. Danya wants to get his knights to c6. Now Danya sacrifices on the king side. This was probably overlooked by Priyadharshan. Knight e5 check and the e6 pawn is attacked. If you play something like king f8, then queen takes e6, threatening queen f7 mate and knight g6 check, winning the queen. So black played king f6. Now if you take with the knight, I take with the f pawn, pinning the queen to the king. Queen b1 double X-clam move, threatening queen g6 checkmate. Now we're threatening queen f7 mate, and we're threatening queen h6, which leads to mate after rook g6, queen g6. and there's no defense. So Priyadharshan resigned. His pieces over here aren't defending his king very well. A crushing attack from Danya out of nowhere. First, Danya sacrifices a pawn on the queen's side, then he sacrifices a piece on the king's side, opens up Priyadharshan's king, and has a blistering attack. Brilliant game from Danya. Okay, Danya has black in this game. This is played against international master John Grefe in San Francisco tournament in 2008. Naroditsky has black. This game was played a long time ago, so both players were 2,300. This is Danya before he became a GM. 2008 was a long time ago. Danya played the King's Indian, which he liked to do. And they played in typical King's Indian style. Danya attacked on the king's side by pushing his pawns, and Grefe played on the queen's side by pushing his queen's side pawns. I have to admit somebody else in the class. Danya has a big attack against White's king. White sacrifices the exchange, hoping to get rid of this beautiful bishop on h3. Bishop b1 allows White to defend his f3 pawn. Danya gets his rook up into the game. White sacrifices material, hoping he can break through on the queen's side. Danya ignores it, plays for checkmate. Danya doesn't take the rook, threatens queen h2 checkmate, and bishop f3 check. Now, this position, black's threatening, queen takes h2 checkmate. That's a funny checkmate. Black has crashed through on the king's side. White has no defense. So White resigned. Crushing victory for Naroditsky. Danya liked playing the King's Indian, and he really liked that game because he crashed through, and his opponent crashed through on the queen's side, but never got any passed pawns or anything going, and eventually capitulated on the king's side. Dushko raised his hand.
What was the time control for this game?
It's slow chess. So I don't know the time control, but like, you know, game in 90 or game in 120.
Wait, is game 60 also considered the slow chess?
It is, but typically slow tournaments aren't game in 60. This was a strong tournament in San Francisco, so it should have been slower chess.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it doesn't say the time control, so I can't prove it. But I'm guessing like 90-30 is typical. Okay, here's another Naroditsky attack against Marcel Schroer. This was played in 2009 in the Netherlands. Naroditsky's rating was 2356. His opponent's rating is only 2128. Another King's Indian. Hey, we have somebody else joining the class. Naroditsky starts the attack. Sacrifices a pawn. Opens up his bishop. Black has the two bishops. And White's king is trapped. Black has great play for a pawn. Now Black's threatening bishop f3, winning the game immediately. After h6, if you play knight e6 or some other knight move, then bishop f3 check wins the game immediately. So he played h3, then his king has the h2 square. But unfortunately for White, Naroditsky plays bishop f5. And this threatens the bishop on d3 and the knight on g5. There's no defense. If you play knight e6, I can take the bishop. If you take my rook, bishop e4 check wins the queen. And checkmates. So after bishop f5, White resigned. Crushing victory from Naroditsky. Naroditsky liked playing the King's Indian, and he liked sacrificing material and getting an attack. His games are fun to watch. Next game is against Zoltan Varga, who's a grandmaster. This was played in 2010 in Budapest in one of their GM norm tournaments. Naroditsky's FIDE rating was 2356. His opponent's rating was 2475. But playing higher rated players never bothered Danya. He liked the challenge. He played his favorite King's Indian. Still theory. Black sacrifices a pawn. Black has pressure on the bishop and the e4 pawn and the c6 knight. Now White's king is in trouble. Now Black's threatening. Bishop takes bishop. Queen takes b2, checkmate. And Danya got his pawn back. And then here, White blundered, but White's probably losing anyway. Because queen takes b2 mate is a big threat. Played queen d4. Can somebody in the chat find the winning move for black? Danya played one more move and his opponent resigned. Somebody could just unmute themselves and tell me the move. Yeah, I heard Queen C7. That's correct. That's check. It attacks the queen. White resigned. If white doesn't resign, I could play Queen C5. Then I trade queens, play Rook C8, and win the bishop. A crushing last move from Naroditsky. Queen C7 check. That's good when you're paired up and you win the game in 20 moves. Okay, now, one of the game ideas from the sponsor was knight BD7, classical King's Indian, which Naroditsky played with black. And this is the example that I found against Richard Lobo. It's rated 2260. This was played in 2011 at the Berkeley International. Danya was 2475. Oh wait, Danya was 2419. I can read. So they played a King's Indian with knight BD7, which isn't played very much, but Danya liked it. Nice tactical move, taking advantage of the bishop, defending the knight, and defending f4. Danya starts the kingside attack. The pawn on h3 is really annoying. Danya sacrifices his b pawn. White takes the b pawn because Danya was going to put his queen on the diagonal and threaten queen g2 mate. So the white queen is defending. Now, this is a funny point in the game. So black just sacrificed a pawn and played the move rook a2. And white already has no defense. Black is simply going to play queen e2 next move. And you can't defend the bishop. When I was looking at the game earlier, I was trying to find a defense for white because white resigned. And I found what I thought was a defense, but then I refuted it. I thought I could play knight e3, and if queen e2, I could play rook f1. But then I realized after knight e3, I can just take the bishop on f2. And then queen d2 check wins the rook. People still joining the class. Now we'll get some people who had the wrong time for the class starting. Thought it started 7 p.m. Eastern. So I couldn't find another defense here for white. Black is very simply threatening queen e2, and then queen takes f2 check. And I couldn't see anything white could do about it. And neither did white. White resigned. That's pretty sad. That's because h3 pawn is so strong. It's killing the white king. Yeah, if you play king h1, I can just take the bishop. So that was a crushing victory from Danya. Danya liked to sacrifice material with black and the king's Indian and play for an attack. And he was often very successful. Okay, here's a game against Salvijus Bercys from it says USA TT ICC INT. This is an internet tournament played in 2010. Probably a blitz game. Danya's only 2403. His opponent has about the same rating. Danya plays King's Indian with knight bd7. Danya sacrifices a pawn. Yeah, white's a pawn up, but his pawns are doubled, and there's only one open file on the board, and Danya has total control, and the knight on c5 can't be kicked out. So black is actually better here. A3 is a mistake, just hanging the pawn. And white resigned. If white plays king b4, he actually gets checkmated. Otherwise, the rook takes on a3, on e3. Black is up too many pawns. Pretty easy win for Naroditsky in the endgame. The extra pawn for white didn't help him at all. But the funny thing is, Naroditsky still sacrificed a pawn, even though he didn't have to. Naroditsky liked to sacrifice to get active play. Okay, here's a game played in 2016. Naroditsky's white in his Jobava London against Martin Saltvedt, whose rating is only 1900 something. This was played in Europe at some European Open tournament. The sponsor wanted me to show a game in the Jobava London because Naroditsky liked to play white in a Jobava London. I've actually had this position before with black, although I've played h5. Danya gets his king moving. Danya sacrifices a pawn to get an attack against Black's king. And that's that. Can't stop Queen H8, mate. Nice, easy game from Danya. I like the way he tucks his king away to B1 after playing King D2. Black has triple pawns, but they're of no use. I think that's the games I wanted to look at. Yeah, that's the games. Danya was a very exciting player, often sacrificing material for an attack. And Danya was a great analyst and fun to watch do commentary on the internet for these live events that they had. Very affable, great analysis, fun to watch, fun to work with. I've done analysis with Danya, and he's great to work with. He's so strong at chess and has such a nice personality that it was great working with him. And I miss Danya, and it's still shocking to me what happened. And I'm glad we could have a lecture about his best games and talk about what a great guy Danya was. So now what I want to do is people can raise their hand if they want to say something about Danya, if they have a personal story, or they just want to talk about anything they've learned from Danya, or if they have anything they wanted to say in the class. And remember, this is going to be on YouTube, so when you say stuff, people are going to know you said it. Okay, Dushko again, raise his hand.
Well, we all know Danya was a master in sacrificial, creative, attacking chess, but to me, my favorite Danya's game and the most impressive one was his win over Caruana at, was it like 2021, the US Championship with Black in some really delicate positional sort of a Ruy Lopez.
I know the game you're talking about. And Fabiano doesn't lose in the US Championship, and Fabiano doesn't lose with White. So that was an amazing game.
Although that tournament wasn't Danya's best, but that game was impressive. That's a tournament-worthy game.
No, I agree. I know the game you're talking about. And Fabiano talked about the game when they interviewed him at the US Championship, because they talked about Danya a lot, because everybody loved Danya. And all the players had nice things to say about him. Thanks for your comment. That was very good.
So I do have one more thing to say. Although this will sound bizarre, but I swear to God, God is my witness. It was like a couple of years ago. I was still living in a student's dormitory, and it was like something here in Europe. It was like something like 6 a.m. I was that tired. I was finishing an assignment. And I go to the bathroom, and in the cabin next to me, suddenly a guy, I hear the guy watching Danya's stream. I had to check twice if was I awake, was I dreaming? That's one really bizarre episode. But I've seen people in public transport watching Danya's videos. People watching his recapitulations of his brilliant impersonations, which he was always respectful to his chat on Twitch. I believe he was reading every single of those messages, and whenever someone asked him, please, Danya, can you do impression of that player? Can you do impression of that player? He would always do, and it was really funny to watch.
Danya did great impressions of the top players, Kasparov, Wesley, other players, and it was really funny, and it was always really nice.
And he was always respectful in his impersonations. He was always respectful of the players. I remember it once. I was what I mean, he was streaming. I don't know, he was playing some blitz, something like that. And people asked him to do a Wesley so impersonation. He would say, "Okay, I'll do it, but probably Wesley is gonna kill me for this."
No, his impersonations were always spot on. Okay, let me call on some other people who raised their hand. Daniel.
Hello.
Hi,
Sorry.
Daniel.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so, well, unfortunately, I don't have any personal stories with him, didn't get to know him, and my only interactions with him were through his Twitch chat. But I wanted still to share some words. I got into chess during the pandemic, as many of you might have as well, and I tried to pick it up in a bit more seriously. And I remember coming across his channel and watching his first video, and it made me see chess through a different lens that I could never even imagine that I could, just by watching a simple video. His abilities to communicate what he was thinking were truly amazing, and not only that, as well as his personality. He was very nice to watch, just because of his personality. Uh, I remember Magnus once saying something like, he doesn't admire people for themselves, only for what they can do, or something along those lines. But Danya was someone that I can say that I admired a lot from what he could do in the chessboard, but also as a human being. And I am very thankful for everything he has done for the chess community. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment, Daniel. Yeah, he was a real great guy. Jonathan N., your hand is up.
First, I just wanted to say thank you for having this lecture. It was a great opportunity to learn. And remember Danya for his humor, his excellent play, as we just saw from some of these games with these ridiculous sacrifices that are just ever impressive. So impressive. We'll also miss his humor, his amazing commentary, and overall, he was just a great human being. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great comment. Dan Fredenberg.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's I'm like you, Ben. Ben, I love your work. I create a bit of content, and I deliberately stopped watching Danya's content after watching a few videos, just because he was so good at presenting. I knew that if I watched too much, I just end up emulating him way too much, and I am very proud of my level of teaching and all that kind of stuff. So that's the greatest compliment I can possibly give somebody, is just to go, wow, you're so good. I can't. There's just too much of a risk of plagiarism. So that's really amazing. And then the other thing is just the internet thing that is coming out, which is Ruck Framnik, and that's all I got to say on the matter. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for your comment. That's nice of you to say. Okay, Timothy.
I played chess on and off since I was a kid. Never really studied. Never got into tactics. Never really got particularly deep into it. And it was around early 2020, ironically, just before the pandemic, that I started getting into it a little more, but not too deep. And then later that same year, there was a viral moment from the PogChamps tournament that I think we all know what it is. But for that particular player, Daniel Naroditsky was the coach. He was proclaimed a prophet. Daniel Naroditsky is a prophet. And it was that where I ironically really started getting into it. And all these years later, I got back into it. I've met incredible people in the chess world. I'm close to cracking 2000 on Lee chess. I was able to be a chess teacher for a few years, and just all of that, just this massive impact on my life through Danya so indirectly. And I can't imagine, and that's me who only knows him through several degrees of separation, but I can't imagine what he did for other people, and especially to the people closest to him. And the fact that he's gone now is surreal, but I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for him, and it's just been thank you for doing this.
Very
on
nice
top of all that.
sentiments. Thank you. Thanks for what you said. Very nice.
Okay.
I don't know if we got to Sean yet. Sean V.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, everyone. So I just wanted to share a little bit about my chess journey and how Daniel inspired me. I never got to meet him, but I started playing chess at the age of 17. Didn't really take it seriously until about a year ago. And I started at like 1200 blitz on Lee chess. And I searched far and wide on YouTube, everywhere. And the best content that helped me get better was Daniel's videos. And I got all the way up to 1800 Lee chess before work got in the way. Now that is Lee chess ratings, which means it's like 300 over the board. But I'm still nonetheless proud of the progress I made in a short time. And I honestly credit a lot of it to Daniel. I didn't realize until the news of his passing just how much his passing affected me and how much he influenced me and my life. I'm really sad that he's gone, and I've been watching his videos so much just at work, pretending to work, but listening to his speedruns because I just can't believe he's gone.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, none of us can believe it. It's just completely shocking, and as you said, it was surreal. Thanks for your comments. Juan?
Yeah, hello. Sorry for being late. I was working. So yeah, I really admire Danya. I'm not saying that because he's on now. I really did actually. It was kind of a shock. I don't know if you talk about this, but I know you. For example, you have mentioned that you know Hikaru very well, and you met his godfather before meeting him when he was a kid. So, have you met any of like Danya's parents or his immediate family? Like, do you have a connection with them?
I've met Danya's parents, but I don't have really a connection with them.
Are they chess players? Or?
The dad knows how to play, but they don't play in tournaments.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
well,
really have a connection with them, but I know who they are.
How old was Danya when you first met him?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably about 20 would be my guess. Maybe a little younger, maybe at the U.S. Junior Championship, maybe like 19, 18. Yeah, I've known him for a while. Yeah, I knew Danya for like 10, 11 years.
Yeah, like more than a decade.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to know that. Well, thank you for doing this, man.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Dobromir, your hand is up.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing all these beautiful memories and thoughts. It's extremely difficult to lose someone we all love so much, and it has to be mentioned that his commentary was electric. I mean, the man was so fast with the puns, with the tactics while commentating, while explaining, for all of us to be able to follow. at the speed he was doing it, with the entertainment value that he was doing it. It was really incredible to watch his fellow commentators struggling to keep up and eventually giving up and just letting him go. Him and Robert were amazing. Obviously, he commentated with everyone, but that made chess really even more entertaining than I think it's ever been.
Yeah, he was a great commentator and funny. Thanks for your comments. Did you have anything to say, Karen? Did you want to say anything?
No, I agree that the Hess Naroditsky commentary team was just legendary. I just loved them together. So
Karen said Hess Naroditsky commentary team was legendary, in case you didn't hear her.
just so much fun.
Okay, thanks everybody for watching the lecture. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Helps out the channel. If you'd like to sponsor a lecture, in the description, contact my wife, Karen. She's in charge of all that. I want to thank everybody for coming. We had over 80 people at the lecture. Danya was loved and beloved from the whole chess community. And it's great to see the support that he got with this lecture and the support from you guys and all the nice comments you guys made. Thanks again, everybody. Sorry I lost my voice, but hopefully we all learned a lot about Danya. We saw some of his best games, and we have a greater appreciation for what a great talent the chess world has lost. I'm Grandmaster Ben Finegold. Thanks, everyone. See you guys next time. Bye.